are going to be doing a tour through our African rainforest today. So it means all of the animals we are going to be seeing come from the rainforest. So you guys all ready to meet some of my favorite friends here at the zoo? Perfect. Now, my very first friend is right in front of me. So I'm going to get you guys all turned around here. Now, he is having a little bit of a bad right now, but this is Mr. Huckleberry. And Huckleberry here is actually one of the bigger birds that we have here at the zoo. And he's also one of my favorites. Now, he is called a crowned crane because of all those super pretty feathers sitting up on top of his head, just like a crown. You know what? Mr. Huckleberry here is actually a very friendly bird. Every morning when we come into the building and he sees us walking in, he loves to yell hello at us. And Huckleberry is actually very, very loud because out in the wild, these birds live in groups of up to 1,000 different birds. So if you guys can imagine your voice having to be heard over 1,000 other voices, you would need to be really, really loud. So Mr. Huckleberry here has a really special part of his body that helps him be so loud. Actually, my video is going to disappear and come back really, really quickly. There we go. Every time I zoom in, my camera gets mad at me. And we're going to see if Huckleberry here will pick his head up again so we can see this special part on his body. He's scratching a really good itch under his wing right now. Oh, there he goes. So if he turns his head around to us, we might see that there is a little red pouch on his head. Oh, he's just not cooperating now, is he? But he has this little red pouch right underneath his chin. And that's like a big air balloon. So when he goes to yell in the morning, he fills that up with air. Oh, there we go. See that little red pouch right under his throat? It looks really small right now. But when he blows it up with air and he makes noise, all the air gets pushed out with that noise. And it makes him sound super, super loud. Now, Mr. Huckleberry here is very tall. He is probably the same height that you guys are at home. So if you came up to Huckleberry, you could look him right in the eyes. But he doesn't weigh very much at all. If any of you have a new baby brother or sister at home, he weighs less than a baby, even though he's the same height as you guys. And that's because his bones inside his body are hollow like straws. And that makes him light enough to fly. Now, I have an experiment that you guys can try at home. And it's about looking at birds and seeing if you can figure out where birds like to get their food from. So here's the experiment. So if you are out walking around and you see a bird and it's walking like how we walk with one foot in front of the other, that's a bird that likes to get their food off the ground because they are really, really good at using those legs. But if you see a bird and it's hopping from place to place with both feet together, that's a bird that likes to get their food from up in the trees and from flying because they aren't very good at using those legs. So it's a really cool experiment that you guys can try at home if you see any birds. And it'll tell you a little bit about where those birds like to get their food. Now we're going to leave Mr. Huckleberry to his morning bath because we still have a whole building worth of animals to see. Like I said, we're in our rainforest building today. So we're going to see that there are a ton of plants inside this building. We actually have more plants at the zoo than we do animals. And we look after them the same way that we look after all of our animals. We make sure that they are fed and watered and looked after. Because plants make really good homes, really good food, and really good toys for our animals. So we want to make sure that they have all that they need with our plants here. Now we're actually at the same exhibit that Mr. Huckleberry's in, except we're looking at some different animals now. Now we're gonna have that pesky camera coming back on here so we can zoom in a little bit on our friends. So these are ringtail lemurs. Well, if any of you have seen the movie Madagascar, you might recognize them as King Julian. Now, it's actually a little bit silly that King Julian is a boy, because with lemurs, the girls are the ones who are in charge. So I think it should have been Queen Julian myself. But out here, we have a group of 5 lemurs. So right over here on the very edge of the branch, I'll point right here, these 2. These are our boys. Their names are Leroy and Joshua. And then our other group of 3 are our girls, Lucy, Willow, and Benjamina. Now, ringtail lemurs have that really long stripy tail for a couple of reasons. 1, it helps them balance. So if any of you are out running around and you start to tip over and you throw your arms out to the side to help catch yourself, that's what a lemur does with their tail. Now, they also use their tail so they can keep track of their friends. Because when they're running around through the treetops, you could lose your friends in all those leaves. So they keep an eye on those tails so they know where all their friends are. And the last thing they do is they will use those tails as a scarf or a blanket. So when they curl up at night, they'll wrap those tails all around themselves. Now we're going to do a little test here. And all I need from you guys is a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And we're going to see if you guys would like to eat the same things that our lemurs eat. Now, this one's normally pretty good, so we're going to do the same experiment with a couple different animals. Now, lemurs like to eat lettuce. Does anyone here like lettuce? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay, some thumbs up. Awesome. How about cantaloupe and honeydew melon? Any of you like those ones? Oh, big thumbs up on that one. Perfect. What about cucumbers and zucchini? Okay. Oh, double thumbs up on that one. Awesome. Lots of thumbs up. All right. Now, this one is a really special one. Does anyone like fruit popsicles in the summer? Oh, lots of thumbs up on that one. But our lemurs love fruit popsicles in the summer. We will take different fruits like strawberries and grapes, and we will smush them all up and freeze them into a really big popsicle so that all of our lemurs can lick it together, because they're really close, so they like to lick it all together. Now, our lemurs are also a little silly sometimes. They like to pull pranks on other animals. So out here in this exhibit with our lemurs, we have Huckleberry, who we met at first. And we also have some tortoises who are hiding right now. But they have some tortoises out here too. And our lemurs love to play with both of these other animals. So with Huckleberry, what they'll do is they will run around through the trees, and we have ropes that go all throughout the exhibit like this. And they like to run across those and get Huckleberry to chase them. So Huckleberry will jump and chase them and kind of fly around with them. Now with our tortoises, they like to pull pranks. So lemurs have a really smelly liquid that comes out of their hands. And they use that to tell other lemurs that that's their home. So they have this really smelly liquid. It's like a sweat. And as they run around and they rub their hands on things, it gets really smelly. So sometimes what they like to do is they like to go up to our tortoises and rub the really smelly stuff on the tortoise's shell. So then the tortoises have to hide in their shell because they're so stinky. They have to wait for our keepers to come in and give them a shower again. So it's kind of silly, but our lemurs do love to pull pranks like that. So they're pretty funny. Now we're going to keep moving on from our lemurs, because right across the hall from our lemurs, we have one of our bigger animals here in this part of our rainforest. Now, this is Mr. Harvey. And Harvey is a pygmy hippo. Now, sometimes people haven't heard of a pygmy hippo before. They think of the big river hippos who live out on the savannah. But there is a big size difference between these guys. So the big river hippo from the savannah can be anywhere from 4 to 8,000 pounds. So that would be like a couple of cars all on top of one scale. But Mr. Harvey here, he only weighs 600 pounds. So that's about 5 adults who would all stand on the same scale. So he is quite a bit smaller. And he has to be that small because he lives in the rainforest where there are lots of trees. So he has to make sure that he can fit in between all of the tree trunks. Now, hippos love spending time in the water. Mr. Harvey here is actually just having a snack right now. And he actually likes similar things to our lemurs. So he likes lettuce. He also likes carrots, some fruits and veggies. You know, he really loves watermelon. Do any of you guys like watermelon? Oh, yeah, we got some thumbs up on that one. That's good. But you know what else Harvey likes? He also likes leaves. Do any of you like leaves? Oh, not as many people like leaves. Okay, well, you could share a lot of snacks with Mr. Harvey, but maybe we'll leave the leaves to him. Like I say, he loves to spend time in the water. We see he has a nice pool back here. Now, hippos can hold their breath for up to 5 minutes at a time. It's a lot longer than we can hold our breath. And they actually love being in the water so much that they can come up to breathe without ever waking up because they can take naps under the water and come up to breathe without waking up. Now, I saw your comment come through, say you like lettuce leaves. I agree. Lettuce leaves are really good, but the type of leaves that I was talking about were tree leaves. So things like dandelion leaves and banana tree leaves, not even the bananas, but the leaves off of the tree. So those aren't quite as good. Now, some people do like those types of leaves, though, so maybe some of you do enjoy them. Now, our hippo here, he only really grows hair on the tips of his ears and the tips of his tail. So he doesn't have a lot of things to help protect his skin. So he has a special sweat, and it's a really fancy word. It's called hipposudoric acid, but that's just a really fancy way of saying hippo sweat. And this sweat acts as a sunscreen, a bug spray, a lotion, and a medicine all at the same time. Now we're going to zoom out a little bit because Harvey's coming up pretty close. So I don't know about you guys, but I think it would be really cool if our sweat could do all of those things for us. So we didn't have to remember different sunscreen and bug spray and lotion and medicines. Oh, we see Mr. Harvey here playing with his ball. Some of our animals like to play with toys here. And so what we'll do, especially with things like this ball, is we'll put little treats inside of it. So like little pieces of carrot and lettuce. So when he hits the ball and he knocks it around, the treats will fall out and he can go and find them. So that's one of his favorite things to do. It's like we also have this little cylinder down here. We'll do the same thing, or we'll make him look for his food. It's like a puzzle for him. We'll see if we can get a look, because he has some pretty big teeth. Oh, he's going to walk away from us. But hippos don't actually use their teeth for food because they're herbivores. They're just eating plants. They don't need big teeth. So they use those teeth to help defend themselves or protect themselves. And you know what? We are just going to get to see our mother and daughter pair of hippos. Here, let's take a walk around here so we don't have glare on the glass. So you notice Mr. Harvey lives alone because pygmy hippos are what we call solitary. And that means that they like to live by themselves, unless it's a mom and her baby, like these two right here. Perfect. So right in here, this is our mom, Kindia, and then our little baby Penelope, who doesn't look so small anymore because she's a couple years old. But she is still the youngest pygmy hippo that we have here at the zoo. And they are having a really nice snack. You remember I told you about those leaves. Here's some leaves and some hay. And it looks like they have some vegetables in here as well. I see some cauliflower over here with Miss Kindia. So they're having a really good salad for breakfast today. Now we are going to go meet some other animals because their pool's going to start filling up. So it's going to get a little bit noisy with our hippos. We're going to see who else we might be able to find out today. Ooh, we have a whole flock of little birds over here. Now these guys are a little bit smaller than Huckleberry, who we saw. Well, what I like to talk about with these guys is their super cool beaks. Here, I do apologize. My video is going to come back again really quickly. There we go. So these guys are called ibis. And if we look at their beaks, they are really long and skinny, like a straw. And that's because they love to eat bugs and worms from the edges of the water. So they use those straw-like beaks to slurp them up like you would spaghetti noodles. Now out here we also, oh, he took a little slip there. He got a little wet. We also have some spoonbills out here as well. Now they're pretty far away, so I'm going to see if I can find a spoonbill who's a little bit closer. Let's see. All right, here's one of our spoonbills who's a little bit closer, having a nice sun bath right now. And if we can see his beak, it looks like a spoon. So it's really skinny up by his head, and then there's a big circular part down at the bottom. Now he uses this beak the same way that you guys might use your spoon with your cereal in the morning. If you take a big spoonful of cereal, but you don't want to drink all that milk, you might tip it to the side to drain some of it out. Our spoonbills do something very similar, where they take a big mouthful of water and fish from the edges of ponds. And they'll swish their head back and forth or tip their head to the side. So all that water drains out of their mouth. So then they're just left with that really tasty fish. So he is really enjoying his sun bath today. It's very nice and warm here. So all of our animals are having a great time taking their naps this morning. So we're going to leave him to his nap. We're going to keep moving on. Now, my next animal is the champion of hide and seek. So I'm going to need you guys to help me find him. Now, he is a type of reptile, and his name is Mr. Skittles. So we're going to take a walk over here. Now, I almost couldn't find Mr. Skittles this morning. I had to look really hard to find him. So if I put you guys right here, oh, he's kind of giving himself away because he's moving right now. But can anyone find Mr. Skittles for me? Ooh, I see lots of pointing. Perfect, right in the middle. You guys are so smart. You know what? Mr. Skittles is also moving a lot right now. So he kind of gave away our game, but it's okay. We still want to talk about him because he's super cool. Actually, let's see if we can move around and see his head. And we're going to see if we can zoom in onto Mr. Skittles' head here. Come back, video. As he's walking around here. Perfect. Now, he is a chameleon. And chameleons are really, really cool reptiles for a couple of reasons. So we're going to do a couple experiments. The first one has to do with how he changes color. So a lot of people think that chameleons change color to hide. And that sometimes makes sense. But if we're looking at our chameleon, he's green and his home is green. So he doesn't actually need to change color to hide. But what he will do is change color to communicate. So this is where we have a little experiment. I want all of you guys to pretend that you are really mad right now. I want you to scrunch your face up and hold your breath a little bit and get really mad. Oh no. Now, are any of your faces turning red? That tends to be what happens when we scrunch our faces up and we get really mad. And that is how we are telling other people that we're upset. Our chameleon does the same thing. So when he gets upset, he has a whole bunch of different colors in his skin. And so depending on what emotion he's feeling, he'll push those different colors to the surface, just like how when we scrunch our faces up, we push the blood and the redness to our face. He'll do that. So when he gets upset, maybe he turns a little bit red. Or if he's feeling scared, he might turn a little bit more yellow, like a caution light. So that is really why chameleons are changing colors. Now, we do have another experiment to do with our chameleon, and this has to do with him finding food. And we've been really lucky today to see Mr. Skittles walking around, because normally he sits very still. Chameleons are like the sloth of the reptile world, because they are very, very slow animals. But they like to eat bugs. Now, do any of you guys like to eat bugs? Nope, I see lots of no's. Perfect. Have any of you tried to catch a bug before, though? And it's been pretty hard, right? Because they fly. They're very fast. Well, our Mr. Skittles here, he loves to eat flies. And they are way faster than he is. So he has a couple special ways on his body that he can catch those bugs. And the first are his eyeballs. So here, we're going to get quite zoomed in here on his eyeballs. And we can see his eyeballs move in two directions at the same time. So they are looking two different places at the exact same time. So that gives him double the amount of chances of finding a really, really tasty bug. And when he finds that bug, he uses a super long tongue to grab them. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen a chameleon tongue before, but they are super long. So if all of you stick your arms out to the side, we can see your whole arm. And we look from our fingertips all the way up our arm to the point of our elbow. That is how long a chameleon's tongue is. So their tongue is way longer than our tongue, because our tongue can barely reach our nose or our chin. But a chameleon tongue is as long as their body. That is how they are able to catch all of those really tasty flies. Well, now Mr. Skittles is going back to hide into his green space. I think we're going to leave Mr. Skittles here and keep moving on to a couple more of our super cool exhibits here at the zoo. Now, our next stop is one of the prettiest sights you'll see here at the zoo, because it's one of the most colorful. And that is our giant fish tank. Now, this is called the Lake Malawi Dream Pond, which I know is a pretty big name for this pond. But because it's so big, we like to give it a pretty fancy name. Now, we have around 1,000 fish in this pond. And that is a lot of fish. Now, they're all called cichlids, but each different color is a different type of cichlid. So you see we have some yellow ones, some orange ones, some blue ones. We have some white stripy ones. We have a whole bunch of different kinds of cichlids. Now, I have another one of my experiments for you to see if you guys like to eat the same things as my fish. So we need some good thumbs up and some good thumbs down. Now, some of my fish like to eat plants. Now, do any of you like to eat plants? Now, what if I told you a plant could include lettuce and vegetables? Would you like those ones? Okay, so some of us will like those ones. Perfect. Now, some of our fish are carnivores, meaning that they like to eat meat. Now, some of them like bugs. Now, do any of you like the bugs? I think we already tried this with our chameleons, so no bug lovers. But what do any of you like to eat fish? Yeah. So some of our fish will eat really, really tiny fish. Ooh, so we do like that. Now, there is one type of cichlid who has a really, really special favorite treat. Now, I'm going to say it's not one of our fish in this tank, because sometimes when I tell people their favorite treat, they get a little confused as to why we might have this fish in our tank. But this is a fish that lives all the way in Africa. And I'm going to need a really big thumbs up or thumbs down on this one. Do any of you like eating eyeballs? Now, I see lots of gross faces. I'm going to take those as big thumbs down. You know what? One of these types of cichlid, all the way out in Africa, their favorite snack is eyeballs. So I don't know about you guys, but I think that is kind of icky. But you know what? To them, they think it is super, super tasty. All right. Now we are going to keep going on here because we have one more big stop left. And maybe we'll see one of our smaller friends on the way. Because she was out a little bit ago. And her name is Cleopatra. We're going to see if Miss Cleo is still out because she looks pretty cool. Oh, she is out. So we're going to stop at Cleo before we move on to our big stop. Now, this is Miss Cleopatra. And you know what? She is a dwarf crocodile. If you guys have ever heard of crocodiles before, normally they're really, really big. They could be as long as 2 or 3 people all laying head to toe. But Miss Cleopatra here is a dwarf crocodile. So she's actually the smallest type of crocodile. And she is probably only as long as you guys are tall. So if you were to lay down right beside Miss Cleopatra, she would be the same height as you guys. Now, crocodiles are like little dinosaurs. Here, we're going to get zoomed in here on Miss Cleopatra so we can see. She has some really sharp teeth. She is a carnivore. So she likes to eat things like fish and amphibians. Oh, she just opened her eyes. She knows that we're here. Now, as dinosaurs, these guys have protective scales. So if we look all down Miss Cleo's back, we see all of these scales. But crocodile scales are extra special, even compared to other reptile scales. And that's because they have bones inside of their scales. So it's like they're wearing armor all the time to help protect them. But you know what? Even though these guys are like little dinosaurs and they have all this protection, they are one of the best mothers out of the reptile world. These little guys love to look after their babies, which is very different from other reptiles who just lay their eggs and then they just leave their babies all alone. So these guys are really, really good mothers because they use those scales to help protect their babies. Now, I am super glad that we were able to see Cleopatra because she doesn't normally come out of the water to see us. But, you know, we do have one last big animal to see today on our tour. And they are some of my favorite here in the African rainforest. So we're going to take a little walk through this room and we're going to go see if we can find them. Now this room, you might see me walking through some chains and a door. That's because this is an open air aviary. So that means that we have birds flying free. Actually, we're going to come across one right in front of us. We're going to try not to scare them. There we go. So we have birds that fly free in here. So we have to make sure that they stay nice and safe in these rooms so that they don't get in with other animals like little Cleopatra, who might think they make a tasty snack. All right. Now we're actually going to take a little trip over here and see if we can zoom in on our friends. It is nap time right now. Oh, they've heard me. They're all waking up. All righty. So we zoom in right here. We have made it to our gorillas. Now here at the zoo, we have two different groups of gorillas. So today we are with our family group, and a family of gorillas is actually called a troop. So our family here is made up of our big silverback male Charles, and he is actually right below us right now. I'm not sure if I'd be able to get you guys out far enough to see him. Let's see. There he is. So he's actually right below us. We're up on top of like a big cliff right now. So he's taking a nap down there right now. That is our big man, Charles. And then right over here, we have Mum Ngozi, little baby Charlie taking a nap, big sister Nika right there. And if we look right over here, we have our other female Johari. Now, I did say that we have two groups of gorillas here. So we also have a group called a bachelor troop. And those are two teenage boys who live together. Because just like in people, when our gorillas grow up and become adults, they go find their own homes. So our two brothers are all grown up, so they live separately from their moms and dads. Now, gorillas are pretty cool, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the first way is that gorillas are super, super strong. I saw some of you beating on your chest. That is what a gorilla will do. And they will do that if they're trying to scare another gorilla, because it makes them seem really big and really, really strong. Now, can we do another one of our guess a favorite snack challenges? Now, we already know that we like fruits and vegetables. We already know that we're not a big fan of tree leaves, but our gorillas like some other things too. Now, do any of you like cookies? I get a thumbs up. Oh, yes, cookies. Now, these guys do love cookies, but their cookies are a little bit different from ours. Theirs are really healthy vitamin cookies. So they think that they taste really good, but to us, they might not taste so good. But I'm glad that we do both like cookies. Now, how about muffins? Do any of you like muffins? Oh, yeah, I got some thumbs up on muffins. That's good. Because our gorillas also love muffins. Now, this one, I don't know how many kids would like this one, but maybe some of your parents who are sitting with you. Do any of you like herbal tea? Yeah, I've got a couple thumbs up on that one. Our gorillas also love herbal tea. They like to have tea parties in the middle of the afternoon. So you guys might have a lot of the favorite snacks that our gorillas have too. But now, with our gorillas, there are a couple other things that you guys might have in common. And that is things that you guys might like to do. So we're going to do another thumbs up, thumbs down. Do any of you like to play dress up? All right, got some thumbs up. Perfect. How about playing with toys like dolls and balls? Do any of you like to play with toys? Oh, perfect. Thumbs up. Perfect. How about arts and crafts? Do any of you like to paint? Oh, big thumbs up on that one. We got lots of artists in the group. Perfect. Let's see. Do any of you have any brothers and sisters that you like to wrestle with or play tag with? Oh, we got some thumbs up on that one. Perfect. All right. And now this is my last one. And this one is kind of surprising to some people, but it's really cool. Do any of you like to watch movies? Okay, big thumbs up on that one. Now, you know what? Our gorillas love to do all of those things. Johari, our girl over here, loves to play dress up. So she likes to put on hats and scarves and t-shirts and wear them around. Our two little girls over here, Charlie and Nika, who's hiding right now, they're two little sisters at 3 and 6 years old, and they love to play tag and wrestle and play with toys. Little Charlie likes to carry around stuffed animals. Some of our adults like to do painting. So we'll do some finger painting, and sometimes we'll even sell those paintings off. And then every night when our gorillas come in, they go into their bedroom because they have like a bedroom in the back, and they make their own beds, and they actually make little forts even. They'll take blankets and pillows and leaves, and they'll make super comfy forts. And we'll give them a snack, maybe like a bowl of grapes. And then we'll put movies on for them, and they will all sit there and watch their movies together every night as a family. So they really like movies that have animals in them. So recently, they've been watching a movie called Air Bud, which is about a dog who plays sports. So you guys might have an awful lot in common with our gorillas. So that's pretty cool. You guys ever come here and see our gorillas in person, you'll know that you have the same favorite snacks and you like to do the same things. So maybe you could make really good friends with our gorillas here. Now, that does bring us to the end of all of our animals today. But I do want to know if there are any questions that I could answer for you guys about what we've seen today.
Kaylee, is it all right if I make a request for the adults, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if everyone was able to see CMCP's request in the chat, but if you could please type in your last name in your ID, it would really be a big help for us data-wise.
Or if you're about to leave, maybe you could put your last name in the chat, and then we'll be able to hold on to that and gather that information for our attendance. Thank you.
Perfect. Now, did any of you have any questions that I could answer for you? Not even just about the animals we saw today, but if there were anything else you wanted to know about the zoo, I would be happy to answer them for you. I know I talk really fast and I give you lots of information, so I don't blame you if your brains are a little bit fried right now.
Do you have any wild cats?
Ooh, we do have some big cats here. So we have some lions, tigers, cheetahs, and cougars and jaguars. I don't think I said them. But here at the zoo, how we split all of our animals up. Oh, somebody's talking there. Perfect. So here at the zoo, we split up all of our animals based on where they live in the wild. So like today we were in the rainforest, and then we have the African savanna and an Indonesian section and an Australian section and things like that. So in the rainforest, we don't have any big cats from our rainforest. So that's why we didn't see any today. But if you come here and you go to our savanna, you'll see things like lions and cheetahs. Or if you go to our Eurasia section, you'll see our big Amur tigers. So they're split all throughout the zoo.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Do you give the cheetahs big space? Do they ever try and run around?
They do. So they have a big long exhibit, and we do something called a cheetah run. So every once in a while, we'll take out what's called a lure, which is like a little toy for the cheetahs that we can pull really, really fast, and then the cheetahs chase it. I saw a comment come through saying that there are some questions.
Why?
We have a couple cheetahs. I think we have 4 or 5.
Why did the gorillas look like they run very, 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 very fast? Because they are supposed to run as fast as a car goes on the highway.
Cheetahs go as fast as a car does on the highway.
Yeah.
Are the animals happier during the pandemic with no one visiting?
Ooh, so some of our animals were affected more than others. So for some of our really intelligent animals, so things like our apes, some of our larger animals like bears and cats, they definitely noticed a difference because they're so used to having people around. The people almost become part of their family. And that's what they look forward to every day, is coming out and seeing their guests and the people there and interacting with them. So without having people around, we did notice that they seemed almost a little bit lonely. So we would have our staff come in on days where they could to go out and just visit with the animals to make sure that they were still getting all that interaction that they wanted.
We've got a question here.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
How can the gorillas like movies?
How can the gorillas like movies?
Ooh, so it's the same way that you guys might like movies. If you like the pretty pictures and the stories, if they have songs that sound really cool, our gorillas like all of those things too. So they like to see how everything interacts with each other, and they like to hear the sounds and the music and look at the pictures as they move around.
We have a question too.
Go for it.
What type of cupcakes gorillas like?
Ooh, what do gorillas like? I missed the middle part.
What type of movies do they like?
Ooh, what type of movies do they like? They really like movies with animals in them. So they like different things. Oh, and they do like muffins too. Or what type of muffins do they like? Sorry. They like really, really healthy muffins. So their muffins don't have sugar in them, but they will have things like carrot muffins and blueberry muffins and different fruit muffins that just don't have any sugar in them.
I think next up, Eshwar had his hand up for a while. Eshwar, you're next.
How can the chameleon change colors?
Ooh, how can the chameleon change colors? You know what? That's kind of a hard thing to answer because it's not super well understood. Basically, in the chameleon's skin, it's almost like he has paint under his skin in a whole bunch of different colors. And depending on what mood he's feeling, he can squeeze his muscles and cells together to push up that special color, just like if you were squeezing a tube of paint up. So that's kind of the best way that I can describe it, but it's a super cool process that they do.
Thank you.
No problem.
Are there any other questions, friends?
When do you think you'll open to the public?
So actually, we just opened to the public today. So today is the first day that we've had people back. So we are doing timed ticket entry, which is a fancy way of saying that you need to book your time ahead of time before you come to the zoo to make sure that we keep everything nice and safe inside for our people and animals. But yes, as of today, you are able to come and visit the zoo. So we're very excited.
I see Clara has her hand up, and then Tugin.
Go ahead, your turn. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Clara.
Are you feeling shy? Do you want Dugan to go first? Okay, maybe we can come back to Clara.
Okay, Tugin, go ahead.
Why does gorilla shout?
Ooh, why do the gorillas, I missed the very last part.
Shout.
Ooh, why do they shout?
Yeah.
Ooh, so our gorillas don't actually make noise very often, but if they do, it's normally because they're yelling at each other. Because just like how you guys might have arguments with your siblings or your parents sometimes, the same thing happens with our gorillas. Sometimes they don't get along very well and they'll yell at each other until they figure it out and become friends again. So it's very similar to us, but it doesn't happen very often.
Are you ready to ask your question? Yeah, go ahead. Speak up.
Like the fish.
Say it louder.
Like the fish.
You like the fish? Yeah. I also really like our fish. I think they are super, super cool. And they're really pretty too. I like to just sit there and watch them sometimes.
I see Alexis or Leah has her hand up. Go ahead. Unmute yourselves.
Why do gorillas eat muffins?
Ooh, you know what? Because they just think they're really tasty. We like to give them different snacks sometimes, just like how you guys might get special treats at home. And so for gorillas, they really like the muffins. So we tried a few different things with them. We'll try like different cookies or cakes, and they just really like the muffins best of all. Just like how you guys might have favorite snacks. Now, do we have time to take maybe 2 more questions if we have them?
That sounds like a plan.
Perfect.
We got room for 2 more.
I have a question.
Go for it.
What's your favorite animal at the zoo?
So my personal favorite animal at the zoo are our orangutans. So they don't live in this building because they don't come from Africa. They come from Indonesia. So they live in one of our other buildings, but they're a big ape, just like our gorillas. So they're very similar. And they're my favorite because when I started working here, I learned a whole bunch about them because all of the work that I did here at the zoo was on the orangutans. So I learned so much about them that I felt really connected to them. So that's why they're my favorites.
One more question. Tugan,
Yes.
Oh, Yogita, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying the same thing. Tugan has the question.
Perfect. So Thuyan, you can go ahead, my friend. You're going to be our last question for the day.
Do the gorillas like to play games?
Sometimes they do, but their games are more active games. Like they like to play tag and chase each other. They don't like to do things like board games or anything. So yeah, they like those nice physical games, or maybe they'll throw a ball back and forth to each other. Sometimes they like that too. Perfect. Now I am going to get myself turned around here. I'm not sure if we'll be able to keep the gorillas in the background because I'm standing at kind of an awkward place. So there we go, right over my shoulder. I am so glad that you guys were able to come spend part of your morning with me here at the zoo. I hope you guys learned a little bit something about all of the super cool animals we have here. And I hope it gets you really excited to come and visit us to see even more of the animals that we are lucky enough to house here at the Toronto Zoo. I really enjoyed answering all your questions today. They were so smart. And I hope you guys have an absolutely excellent rest of your day today.
Thank you so much, Kaylee, for joining us. That was awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. I am going to sign out here. Have a great rest of your day.
You too.